In the glittering, often deceptive world of celebrity romance, there are few couples who manage to capture the public's imagination quite like Johnny Depp and Vanessa Paradis. For over a decade, they represented the quintessential Hollywood meets European artistic duo, enigmatic, private, and seemingly untouchable. Their story was not punctuated by scandalous tabloid wars or public breakdowns, but rather cloaked in an air of sophistication, lending their relationship a timeless fairy tale quality. But beneath the curated elegance and enduring smiles was their love story really the idyllic tale fans believed it to be? Or was it a slow unraveling, quietly playing out behind the velvet curtain of fame? Their paths first crossed in 1998 in Paris, a city that exudes romance, while Johnny was filming Roman Polanski's The Ninth Gate. Vanessa, a French singer, actress, and model, had already established herself as a respected artist in Europe, known for her haunting voice, ethereal beauty, and effortless grace. Johnny, by then, was the quintessential American outsider, an actor who had defied the Hollywood mold, choosing quirky, offbeat roles that spoke more to his soul than the box office. When he saw Vanessa across the room at the Hotel Costas, he later recounted, it was an instant connection. Not love at first sight, but something deeper, something he described as being struck by lightning. For Johnny Depp, a man surrounded by chaos and inner demons, Vanessa was the calm in his storm. From the outset, theirs was a bond rooted in mutual respect and artistic kinship. Vanessa brought stability to Johnny's often turbulent life, especially after his very public relationship with supermodel Kate Moss had ended in flames. Vanessa was different. She was grounded, introspective, and fiercely private, traits that Johnny, weary of media intrusion, found deeply comforting. As the years passed, they became partners not just in love, but in life. They lived between France and the US, raising 2 children, Lily Rose and Jack, away from the prying eyes of Hollywood. Their family life, by all outward appearances, seemed idyllic, tucked away in the quiet corners of the French countryside or sailing together on Johnny's yacht, away from the chaos of stardom. The media adored them. Johnny often referred to Vanessa as his soulmate in interviews, describing her as someone who gave him the gift of real family. Vanessa, in turn, spoke little of Johnny, choosing to protect their privacy with a fierce resolve. She rarely indulged in gossip or red carpet drama. Instead, she let their life together speak for itself, a rare act of rebellion in an industry built on exposure. For years, they were held up as the exception to the rule, the couple that proved lasting love could exist in the whirlwind of celebrity culture. But even the strongest facades have cracks, and as time wore on, signs of strain began to emerge. Johnny's career, while still illustrious, became more consumed by blockbusters and eccentric characters, particularly his long-standing role as Captain Jack Sparrow in Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean. As his fame soared to new heights, the pressures of international stardom began to erode the quiet life they had built. Rumors of Johnny's drinking and erratic behavior began to circulate more frequently. Vanessa, ever composed, maintained her silence, but the distance between them became more visible. By 2010, the cracks had deepened. Johnny was often away for filming, while Vanessa remained primarily in France with the children. While they never married, Johnny often stated that their bond was stronger than any piece of paper. But in retrospect, that absence of formal commitment may have been emblematic of something else, a reluctance perhaps to fully merge their worlds. In interviews, Johnny spoke of the toll fame had taken on their relationship, acknowledging that the strain of his schedule and the constant media scrutiny had put immense pressure on them both. The official announcement of their split came in 2012, after 14 years together. It was presented with the same dignity that had defined their relationship, a brief, respectful statement asking for privacy and denying any animosity. There was no public feud, no courtroom drama, no messy accusations, just silence. But fans were left with questions. What had really gone wrong between the couple that had seemed so in tune with one another? How does a love so seemingly deep and genuine simply end? In the years following their separation, more insights began to trickle out. Not in scandalous headlines, but in the subtle revelations found in interviews and the choices each of them made. Johnny soon entered a high-profile and ultimately disastrous relationship with actress Amber Heard, one that would dominate headlines for years due to allegations of abuse and legal battles. That chaotic chapter stood in stark contrast to his time with Vanessa, prompting many to look back at their relationship with a newfound sense of nostalgia and sorrow. Vanessa, ever the enigma, carried on with her life and career quietly. She continued her music and acting work in France, remaining largely out of the Hollywood spotlight. When pressed about Johnny in interviews, she was gracious and kind, even defending him during the more turbulent phases of his legal troubles. Her loyalty, even post-separation, was evident. She referred to him as the father of her children, a good man who had always been supportive of their family. But perhaps the most telling sign of what their relationship meant lies in their children. Lily Rose Depp, now a model and actress in her own right, often speaks of her parents with reverence and love. She has navigated the duality of her American and French heritage with a quiet confidence, clearly shaped by the balance her parents tried to provide. For Johnny and Vanessa, if nothing else, their lasting legacy is the strength and grace of their children, a testament to the love that, while it may not have endured romantically, left an indelible mark. So was it truly a love story that wasn't? That phrase, dripping with doubt, suggests failure, but that would be a mischaracterization. Johnny and Vanessa's relationship wasn't marked by failure, but by evolution. They were, for a time, everything to each other. They built a life together, created a family, and gave each other refuge from the often brutal world they inhabited. Their love did not crash and burn in dramatic fashion. It faded gently and inevitably as life pulled them in different directions. In Hollywood, where relationships often end in spectacle, Johnny and Vanessa's story remains a poignant exception. It's a reminder that love doesn't always last forever, but that doesn't mean it wasn't real or meaningful. Sometimes love is not defined by permanence, but by the moments shared, the comfort given, the support provided, the family created. Johnny has often said that he will always love Vanessa, that she remains one of the most important people in his life. And Vanessa, in her quiet way, seems to hold that same sentiment. There is no bitterness between them, no public animosity, just a respectful parting of ways after a chapter well lived. Their story may not have ended with a happily ever after, but it wasn't a tragedy either. It was human, flawed, beautiful, and deeply real. In a world that demands perfection, especially from those who live their lives in the spotlight, theirs was a love story that dared to be honest. It didn't fit the mold of a traditional romance, nor did it play out like a carefully scripted fairy tale. Instead, it unfolded in quiet moments and subtle shifts. Two people growing together and then, slowly, apart. And in that gentle unraveling, there was no villain, no betrayal etched in headlines. Just the slow, inevitable rhythm of time, change, and the complex dance of two evolving individuals. What they had was rare, especially in Hollywood, where relationships are often fleeting, performative, or burdened by the demands of fame. For over a decade, Johnny and Vanessa managed to preserve a sense of normalcy that is almost unheard of in the entertainment industry. They raised their children with love, far from the chaotic glare of paparazzi flashes. They cultivated a life, rich in creativity and mutual respect, where neither overshadowed the other, and each pursued their own artistic passions. That in itself was a remarkable feat. The longevity of their union wasn't just built on passion or glamour, it was anchored in shared values, in trust, and in a desire to give their children the kind of grounded upbringing that both of them had craved in their own youth. Their relationship, like any long-term partnership, was tested by the passage of time, by personal challenges, and by the ever-present weight of celebrity. Johnny's career demands and personal struggles clashed with Vanessa's deep-rooted need for stability and privacy. Their love was tested not by a lack of feeling, but by the difficulty of maintaining intimacy when living parallel lives. And yet they never let bitterness define their parting. Instead, they chose dignity, they chose grace, they chose to preserve the love they had known by letting it go without malice or regret. Perhaps that is the most profound kind of love, the kind that recognizes when it is time to stop holding on and instead honors what was. The kind that doesn't seek to rewrite the past or vilify the other, but simply acknowledges that some chapters are not meant to last forever. Johnny and Vanessa may have grown apart, but they never stopped being connected. Through their children, through their history, and through the quiet admiration that still lingers between them, Their bond endures. It may no longer be romantic, but it is no less significant. So when people say they had it all, the implication is often that they lost it. But that overlooks the depth of what they shared. They had laughter, passion, art, family, and countless unspoken moments that only they could truly understand. And maybe, just maybe, having had that, for as long as they did was more than enough.